I'm getting a lot of ideas for new customs over the last couple of weeks. Now, generally I've stuck with just, DC figures because I'm a DC guy, done a couple of Marvel things. Well, I had an idea for the Tick. And as soon as I had that idea, I was like, oh my gosh, I should do the Tick. And I was originally gonna do it on the 7 Deadly Sins figure that I did, the Despero, that really big dude. His proportions were really weird though, and I couldn't find one. Well, I found this Allmight yesterday. And this guy will make the perfect Tick. He's big, he's broad, he's got these things poking out of his head that I can use for his little antenna stuff. This is gonna be awesome. So I am really excited. Let's dive in and let's create the Tick. Well, I've had him heated up and we're gonna pop him apart because we're gonna need to prime this guy. And then while he's hot, one thing that's always smart to do is that's when you should hit the hair. Especially on a guy like this, the hair is pretty thick, and so I want to be able to cut it off nice and quick. And if you don't do that, then oftentimes the hair will just, his neck comes all the way out. That's crazy, I didn't even know that. Okay, we're learning new things. Anyway, go through and cut off the hair while it's still hot, because it's just going to happen a lot easier. And then we'll go through and we'll trim these as well. We're gonna keep these main ones, because that's gonna be his antenna. And he's got these little fins on here. We're gonna cut those off too. And again, right now when it's hot, that's the right time to do it. Now, one of the most distinct things about the Tick is of course his face. And he's got that big chin. So we're gonna keep the smile, because the smile is perfect. And so I'm gonna roll out some milliput here. And we're just gonna I'm gonna put some, that's probably too much. Let's get it really nice and thin. And let's go around here and let's start molding in just a bigger chin. And I'm not gonna glue it into place because we're gonna kind of have everything molded together. And so that should work just fine. And let's go ahead and, I'm having some ideas right now while we're doing it about what I should do with the eyes, because he does have bigger white eyes. I'm just trying to think about what I should use for the eyes. This doesn't usually happen. Usually I kind of have my plan in place before I start doing this stuff, and this time I don't. So let's think together. I think that chin's gonna look pretty good. It'll look like a big Tick chin, right? But the eyes. All right, I'll come back to this in just a second. I've got some ideas. They're in my head. What I've decided to do is what we did with Despero. We're going to take these beads and we're going to make them the eyes, and we're going to drill some holes right here in his face, and that's where the eyes are going to go. So let's just kind of get in here a little bit and drill. All right, here we go. Get those eyes in. Got a little bit of glue in there. Trying to do it with it, and I might just have to do it with my fingers. Just do it with the fingers. There we go. Hopefully it doesn't stick to my finger. Come on. Oh, so fun. It's sticking to my finger now. Come on. See, this is why you guys watch this channel, is because of the screw-ups. Come on, baby. There we go. Yeah, it's in. Let's get it in there. Get it in there. All right, one down. Next one. Oh. Tell your friends. Funnest fail videos on YouTube right here. Trying to get eyes into this guy. All right, there we go. All right. There we go. That's looking more like the Tick. What I'm doing right now is I'm just taking milliput and I'm popping it into place and I'm just mushing it in and forming it so that we can form the head. And as you can see, it's starting to take on a shape where he looks very Tickish. I'll have to fix the nose a little bit. And obviously this is going to be a little bit more realistic interpretation, not necessarily a cartoon interpretation, but I really think it's going to work out just perfectly. I mean, I think this is going to look awesome. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going through here on this hair and I'm cutting in some small notches. I don't want them to be too pronounced because I don't want to weaken the hair, but the tick does have notches in here because these are his antennae. So I'm just going to go through, I'm going to do 3 on each side and then go over to the other and just nice and simple cut them in and make it so that at least it looks like he's got those notches. And then we'll go ahead and paint his head white. Well, we've got the notches cut in. They're looking pretty good. Not perfect, but I don't want to cut through them all the way. So now we're going to Dremel and just smooth this guy out a little bit. Just going to use the standard one I've been using on some of the other figures just to smooth them out. And I'm going to try and go a little bit smoother than I usually do because I found that I don't usually go quite smooth enough. So I'm going to go a little bit more than I normally do. Now that we got everything kind of smoothed out, we're just going to paint. We're going to paint over everything. Part of the reason is because I want all this to match once I do the blue, right? The eyes, of course, are going to be white. But I want all of this to match so that once we get into painting the blue, that this and the body, that everything will match. So just go ahead, go over everything in white, nice and simple. You might want to get a smaller brush to get in some of these details once you've kind of got most of it done. That's what I'm going to do. But for right now, a larger brush will work just fine. Go through and paint all this up. And then we'll move forward on the blue. This is such a simple character when it comes down to it. And again, depending on how much detail you want or don't want, I mean, you can experiment with changing stuff like here on the belt. Like obviously the tick doesn't have a little kind of symbol here, and it won't be very noticeable once it's blue, but if you wanted to switch it out, you could find possibly a matching crotch piece here. But you're going to have to look for it. I don't need it that, that perfect. I'm fine with this body and with some of the details, because oftentimes when you buy a figure, that's just how it's going to be. They're going to have some of those details. You can see my McFarlane figures all the time. So don't be afraid. But if you want it to be perfect, it can be as perfect as you want. Now I'm also going to go in here with this Dremel and just make myself a little more space. Now what this does is that when you put in the little circles there, with the extra space, or with the paint, it takes up some of the space in here. So if I go through here like this, then I can make it so that I can put some extra space in there and it'll fit with the paint. So that's all I'm doing. And having a Dremel, oh, there goes his head. And having the Dremel is really helpful. It makes this really nice. And I have a ball one too, so if I need to, I can go through with the ball and get in here a little bit better. But this is working pretty well. And here we go. Let's just start painting over the top of these guys. Nice and simple. And then we'll move on to the body. This is just my standard Vallejo blue. It's a lighter blue. You could use a slightly darker blue for the tick. You could use a lighter blue. That's the great thing about this character, is that it really doesn't necessarily matter. It can be any number of blues. I like this more powdery blue, personally. I think that it's going to be more fun. I think it's more true to the character and his just absurdness. And that's what we're going to go with. Oh, I'm honestly so excited to be painting this guy, because I've been looking at him white for the past couple days as I've been just working on other things. Real life work, writing novels and such. But he's a really easy custom when it comes down to it after this. You just paint him blue. There's nothing more complicated than that. And as you can see, the change is fast. And it's great. I love it. And I'm excited just to have him finished. I came up with the idea for him just last week, honestly. And I thought, well, I can You know, there's a couple different ways we can do this. We can use the 7 Deadly Sins guy, and that was kind of my idea. But man, there is nothing better than this Allmight because of these antenna. And that was actually my daughter Olivia's idea. She's like, Dad, you can use his hair as the antennas. And I was like, what? It was genius. I can't believe I didn't think of it. But, you know, sometimes you got to listen to your 10-year-old kids, and they're gonna take you down the right path. Look at that. Oh, the tick. As you guys know, I love this part, especially when it's on a figure where there's just a huge color change. And seeing this guy, he instantly becomes the tick once he's blue. There's no Allmight anymore. The big smile, you know, looks great on the face. And it's the tick. And so going through and painting this guy, this is fun. This is where it just, everything comes together right here. Well, he's getting close to done. Just got to get the head, the details here around the eyes and such. And so got to get a nice small brush and go over it nice and carefully with the magnifying glass. Now, the thing about some of these characters, like I could go through and accent his muscles and such with a wash, but the tick is, even in live action, has always been basically just a cartoon character without a lot of details. In the Prime version, he had a little bit more details on his suit, and that's fine. But for me, the tick is just, he is a cartoon character, and if he existed in the real world, he would still be a cartoon character. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep him just this blue. I'm not going to add any accents or highlights. Just going to make him who he is. Go around these eyes, and then we're going to be just about done. And I'm really happy with how he's turning out. I don't even know if there's, you know, an articulated figure of the tick, like if it even exists. But for me, it does now. Nice and simple. The tick. We can all yell spoon. I love how this character turned out. Very simple. What I would do, I think, after working with the Milliput on this figure, is maybe in order to make it so that the bottom over the nose was a little bit straighter, I could have rolled it and put it there. That's the only part that I'm kind of disappointed with, because it was hard to get it kind of flat. But then I also was trying to make the nose come down. It was hard because, you know, you're going from the cartoon character to a more realistic character. And so it's kind of hard in advance, at least it was for me, to figure out exactly how I wanted that to look. But I'm proud of how the tick turned out. This is a very fun figure. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. If you guys have any figures you want to see in the future, let me know. This was a very fun one. It puts a smile on my face, and I got super lucky with that Allmight figure, just basically making it very easy to do this guy. So if you find one, get him, make a tick, and I'll see you guys next week.